Big 550 KTS. Good morning, ABC News entertainment correspondent / movie critic.
Good morning, McGraw, and I do believe the Cardinals will sweep the Mets.
Yeah, when is that starting? Is that starting Monday, Tuesday?
I wish it would start today so we could just get it over with.
The Mets are fading fast, but
it's football season, baby.
Cespedes is coming back.
The place I should be talking about that. Yeah.
Cespedes is coming back. No, football is not coming back.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's not coming back anytime
soon.
Do you
guys, I have a question for you. So, how do you guys actually feel about that? Will you now hate the Rams, or will you root for them?
I will tell you that every time I mention the Rams on the radio, I get at least 3 or 4 emails telling me to shut up, who cares, don't talk about them.
Okay, good to know.
However, I can't help but watch Hard Knocks because, I liked the general manager. The general manager's wife worked here at the radio station, Les Snead, Kara Snead. She worked here. And you had friends who worked in the front office, and a lot of charity work was done with the Rams. So you had friends and co-workers and everything else for years, affiliated with the Rams. And then to have them ripped out and then sort of treat St. Louis, kick St. Louis on the way out the door, there's sort of a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I could understand that.
Yeah,
I haven't watched Hard Knocks yet, but I'm looking forward to catching up on it.
Yeah, well, you'll notice a couple of slights towards St. Louis, which you're like, what was that for? We didn't do anything wrong.
Well, you know what? Forget it. I'm not watching.
There you go. That's like to hear. All right, let's start with Ben-Hur. Do we have to? Is this the prequel or the sequel, or what? Is this a reboot? Is this a Ben-Hur reboot?
It's a remake.
A remake, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
It's a remake of one of the best movies of all time. Look, if you're going to remake one of the best movies of all time, you have to bring it. And also, never mind the fact that it's a remake of one of the best movies of all time. Look, you know what? Let's forget. It's very hard to, but let's forget about that first movie called Ben-Hur that won 11 Academy Awards and was considered one of the greatest movies of all time. Let's just put that aside for a second.
Let's put it aside.
And let's just start with a clean slate. And so I have a movie about a Jewish prince during the Roman Empire who is betrayed by his adopted brother and then is enslaved, thrown in the bowels of a Roman warship where he has to row for 5 years, where he's trying to escape and hopes one day that he can avenge his situation, find his mother, find his sister, find his wife. It's a role that would require a ton of gravitas because you have this epic adventure and this tale of revenge, maybe, of biblical proportions, perhaps, infused or informed by some religiosity, if you will. It would require an actor of enormous gravitas.
Yes.
Forget about Charlton Heston for a minute. Excuse me. So they cast Jack Houston. And Jack Houston is a great character actor. I mean, he's so good. He's very solid in everything that he does. Whenever you see him, you notice him. But he's a character actor, and you see him in bits and pieces. He plays supporting roles. He's never really the lead, and he's not asked to carry a movie on his shoulders. And here he is, and he was 100% the wrong person for this role. And I hate to say it because he's a talented dude, but he should not have been cast in this role. And so from the outset, this movie is just all wrong and not believable. They put him opposite Terry Kebbell, the actor who plays his adopted brother who becomes a Roman soldier, would have been much better suited to play Ben-Hur. Then they put him in scenes with Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman will make anybody sound like Tiny Tim,
right.
And for some reason, Jack Houston adapted a voice, the same voice that Christian Bale used in Batman. He was talking like this the whole time, and I don't know why he was talking like this. But he was, and it just didn't work. Never mind the fact that they hammer you over the head with a particular agenda, which is a positive agenda, but it's not something that you want subtlety in storytelling. Some people don't. I do, and this just was not good filmmaking, save for a few action sequences. So now let's remember the original Ben-Hur. One of the things it was known for was that incredible chariot race.
Yes.
And they recreate the chariot race. And you know something? They did a decent job with the chariot race. It's not the original chariot race, but, you have today's special effects, and choreography, and that was done very well. But they just could have, you know what they could have done? They could have made the entire first 2 hours and 10 minutes that took place before that chariot race, or at least what's seen that, they could have made a 60-second montage and then given us the chariot race, and it would have been a much better movie. So 1.5 out of 5 stars.
Holy mackerel. All right, I want to get to War Dogs before we run out of time. What about War Dogs?
War Dogs, based on a true story. There were these two kids in southern Florida who dealt arms to the government during the Iraqi war because of the government's weird policy. The government had a very weird policy as far as getting arms contractors was concerned. You could actually go to a public website, and it doesn't matter who you are. You could bid on the contracts. And these kids took advantage of it, most notably this character played by Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill is terrific. This movie is directed by Todd Phillips, the guy who is sort of like the godfather of that quote-unquote dude bro humor, and we saw that in The Hangover. Jonah Hill's very good at that thing. Jonah Hill's also just happens to be a terrific actor. There's a reason he's been nominated for 2 Oscars. So good playing a con artist who could sell your own mother to you. Just so good. Miles Teller is the heart and soul. He plays the other friend who Jonah Hill kind of suckers into this whole situation, and it's mind-boggling because it's true. What's probably not true is a lot of the dialogue that happens in the movie, but the events that took place actually happened, and your jaw will hit the floor when you see what actually happened in this movie because it happened in real life. Really incredible. A really good movie for the middle of August, towards the end of August, because usually we don't get good movies at this time. 4 out of 5 stars.
4 out of 5. I like that Miles Teller. I think he's great.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he could have been nominated for an Oscar for a few different movies at this point, and we'll see. He's like John Cusack Jr. He reminds me so much of John Cusack.
Oh, maybe they can reboot Say Anything.
They could. I think they could.
Ladies and gentlemen,
but they don't need to. It's like remaking Ben-Hur. You don't need to do that.
Have you ever sat around with movie critics talking about movies they should never remake, like Rocky?
Of course. I sit around with everybody. I talk about that with my mom, with my grandmother. She's not even alive anymore. I talk to her about it.
David Blaustein. All right. Next week we'll talk Yankees or Mets and Cardinals. Have a good week. Thanks for checking in.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, there you go. David Blaustein every Friday. He's a long-suffering Met fan and a long-suffering Dallas Cowboys fan. Don't ask why he's a Met fan and a Cowboys fan, but that's beside the point. By the way, while we're on the subject, I'm going to out a front runner on the Big 550 KTRS. I'll do that next.